What do you think so far? It's Friday, second day of August 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Everybody is on their best behavior except Stacy. We'll have a nice chat with Stacy right after this program is done. How you doing? It is Friday, second day of August. Pretty good show for you today. Excellent show, all things considered, despite our little technical bump in the road as we got going. But the usual shenanigans apply. We got the weather forecast. We got news, sports. We got the obscure holiday today and history birthdays. Everyone is entitled to my Magnati's opinion. And we're going to revisit an interview that my good friend Eric Granstrom did last week with our friends who are putting together the Walk to End Alzheimer's. The walk itself is in September, but Steve Reinhold and Erica Grismerson came in last week, chatted with Eric. We're going to replay that interview for you in the back half of the hour. We're behind schedule, so let's jump right into it. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of the Sky-Fi network that Local-Tel runs, and they run it quite well, as a matter of fact. That's the cross camera pulled back just a little bit. We can, of course, these are called PTZ cameras. PTZ is an acronym for pan, tilt, and zoom. We can go in and out and up and down and all kinds of cool stuff. Beautiful view of the Wenatchee Valley, which we always begin with the cross camera when it is available to us, which, thank goodness, is almost 95% of the time. You see a few high clouds out there. We do not have a red flag warning, but far eastern Washington, out in the Columbia Basin, basically from Ritzville to Spokane, and from the Canadian border down to Walla Walla, they have a red flag warning, but not for us here in the Wenatchee Valley, but we are expecting some winds. Details coming up. Camera 2, where are we off to, Megan? We're going to see if the TriCaster is going to let us take a look at, is that Stamen Flats? Hey, it's Stamen Flats. See, we moved the camera, so it kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. There's the Columbia River. Douglas County dominates your view there. That's pretty darn nice, isn't it? Stamen Flats, of course, is pretty much when you have to make up your mind. How are you going to get to Chelan? You going to take the Navarre Coulee Road and dump yourself off at the state park, or are you going to continue on US 97A and go through the Knapsail Tunnel and pop into Chelan that way? Stamen Flats on your way to Chelan. Camera 3 is, oh boy, don't tell me we haven't been here for a while. That's above Peshastin, so that is, I forgot the name of it. That's right, Flag Mountain. Oh my. Can we go home now? Just go have breakfast? Leavenworth is down there somewhere. And the rest of the course, you can see the Cascades, clear as a bell. Oh, speaking of that, before I forget about this, if you're taking, if you're taking Blewett Pass today, you're going to have some delays this morning, starting at 10 o'clock. As you know, they're working on the Boundary Bridge project near the Swak Creek campground. You're going to find delays on Blewett Pass today, delays of up to 20 minutes with flagger control traffic. They're pouring concrete for the bridge foundation, and they have to shut the highway down to do that. So quick heads up, if you're taking Blewett Pass during the daylight hours today, starting at 10 o'clock, you want to plan for at least an extra 20 minutes of delay there. All right, camera 4, where are we off to, Megan? It is off to Billy Goats, our all-time favorite, my all-time favorite camera, simply because you can get so much information in that frame. Way down lower right-hand corner is Alta Lake and the Alta Lake Golf Course. Pateris is there. Brewster is there. Bridgeport not quite visible. Beautiful day there. Gorgeous day. And that is our highest camera elevation-wise of all the Sky-Fi networks. It's, I believe they told me something like 6,000 feet above sea level. I wonder what it's like trying to get to that tower. That must be interesting. So that's our view from around the valley with our Valley View cameras and all of North Central Washington, courtesy of Local-Tel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless. From the National Weather Service, your forecast. We've talked about this all week. We're going to have some windy conditions later on today. We'll show you a slide. So we're going to cool down. We're going to hit, there's a slide. Take a look at where you live. That's your peak wind gusts today. And the winds will be peaking between about 3 to about 7. 3 to 7 o'clock today will be the strongest of the winds. For the Wenatchee Valley, a good consistent wind, 7 to 17 miles an hour west wind. But gusts as high as 25 or even 30 miles an hour is possible for the Wenatchee Valley. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, there is a red flag warning, but it's not for the North Central Washington area. It's basically, your border would be Ritzville to the Idaho Panhandle, up north to the Republic area, Ponderay County, and then down south towards Walla Walla. That area, the far eastern part of our state, has a red flag warning, but not us here in the Wenatchee Valley. So what's going on? There's a weak cold front coming in. That's giving us all that wind that we're going to have today. It will be a little bit windy tonight, by the way, with clear skies, 66 for the overnight low. Then we begin to warm up. 91 Saturday, 96 Sunday. Could get triple digits on Monday and Tuesday. It is a possibility as a large ridge of high pressure is going to become well entrenched. Yesterday's high, by the way, 91, so it was just a little bit above normal. Yesterday's low was 64. It's mild already. It's already 70 degrees outside of our studios here in downtown Wenatchee, and we'll have 14 hours and 53 minutes of daylight. Sun came up at 5:40 this morning. It'll stick around until about 8:33. So there's your forecast from the National Weather Service, 9 minutes after the hour, or longer than that, actually. Yeah, 9 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break. When we come back, we got your Friday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 15 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, agent here at Senior Insurances of North Central Washington, where we help our clients navigate the Medicare world. One of the things we really enjoy doing is teaching our clients about their rights. Like, did you know that if you have a traditional Medicare supplement, you can change that monthly all year long, regardless of prior health conditions? So if you'd like to know more about your options with Medicare, you can visit us at one of our 5 local offices, as well as give us a call at 888-2600.
I told Mr. Nielsen about Simon. He's the best doctor because I like the medicines like he gives me.
He asks like more questions, and that's why I feel like he's more interested in the health. For me, it means a lot. That means he really cares about, about him.
I like you, Simon, and you're my best friend.
And we're back on this second day of August. It is Friday, 70 degrees with a few high clouds outside of our studios. We'll top off in the upper 80s with quite a bit of wind later on this afternoon, and then a gradual warming trend beginning over the weekend. Let's find out what's making news on this Friday. This is a story we first brought to you yesterday. We have more details now on that high-speed police pursuit that ended Wednesday in East Wenatchee when the suspect crashed his car into the restaurant you see there. The chase started in Wenatchee, police responding to a report of a reckless driver in the vicinity of Okanagan and Ferry Streets. Wenatchee Police Captain Edgar Reinfeld takes over the narrative from there.
One of our officers picked it up right away on the vehicle running at a high rate of speed down Ferry. There's a lot of cross streets. It's all residential right against that arterial. It's a really dangerous situation. Officer gave chase, tried to get him stopped. Vehicle went down to Mission, cut over the George Siller Bridge and went eastbound on the bridge, still at a high rate of speed. People, evading hard to get out of the way to not get hit. Vehicle continued to Grant Road and then turned up Grant Road and was just driving through red lights at a high rate of speed still. Our officer dropped back, was just going to stop any sort of pursuit that had started because it was not working. It's not safe to try to end it. When the driver cut to the right slightly, going east on Grant Road, and then hard left into the parking lot at a restaurant up there, I believe in the 700 block of Grant Road, and smashed into their dumpster enclosure, the masonry wall, wrecked his car out, sustained some injuries, and was taken into custody there and then for medical evaluation. So as far as we know, there were no other vehicles hit, no other structures hit, no injuries to any person except the driver at this point, and charges are pending the resolution of some medical issues.
Yeah, the name of the suspect is being withheld until charges are formally filed. Well, if you haven't voted yet, you're not alone. The August 6th primary hasn't generated a lot of interest in our area, judging for the number of ballots returned thus far. The election features 2 sales tax measures proposed by Rivercom and Link, as well as contested mayor, city council, and school board positions. But Douglas County Auditor Thad Duvall says less than a quarter of the mail-in ballots have been returned as of Wednesday afternoon.
So far, we've got about 20% of our ballots returned. It's a little over around 4,500 ballots back in. We mailed out a little over 22,000. And so we're going to need a little bit of a push here at the end to get up to 40 or 50%. We usually do get a little bit higher return the last week of the election, so we'll see what happens. We encourage everyone to vote.
Duvall has predicted a 40% turnout when all the returns are in. Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore, he's predicting a 50% turnout. He reports 21% of the 46,000 or so ballots that were mailed out have been returned as of Thursday morning. Of course, make sure you got your mail-in ballot postmarked by Election Day, August 6th, so you can drop them off at any of the numerous drop-off locations all over Chelan and Douglas County. And of course, we'll have results election night this next Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. For the 7th straight month, unemployment in the Wenatchee metro area has gone up. Yeah, unemployment is up. That's the latest report from the State Employment Security Department. The Wenatchee area unemployment rate rose in June 0.6% from 3.8% in June of last year to 4.4% in the June just passed. However, year over year, the Wenatchee market labor force has been expanding for 24 months in a row. Between Junes of 2018 and 2019, the Wenatchee civilian labor force has increased 3.4%, meaning there were 2,397 more residents in the labor force this year compared to June of last year. Well, above normal, significant large fire potential is expected along the east coast of the North Cascades, the Wenatchee Valley, the Columbia Basin, and the Palouse in August and September. That's the latest from the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise. Outlooks for August suggest warmer than average conditions for much of the western United States, particularly here in the Pacific Northwest. Long-term drought continues to expand in western Washington, northern Washington along the Canadian border, and northwestern Oregon. Well, the town of Entiat will hold a gathering this Saturday to celebrate 100 years of graduating classes and small town tradition. Our very own Kyle Montgomery has more on one of Entiat's most famous landmarks.
The town of Entiat will collect this Saturday at the Entiat City Park for a high school alumni gathering to celebrate 100 years of graduating classes in the small town. One of the most unique features of the Entiat Valley you have more than likely passed by on your way down State Route 97 is Numeral Mountain, a landmark located next to the Entiat School on top of the Columbia River that graduating classes paint their numbers on upon graduation. For nearly 100 years, graduating classes have left their mark on the rock as a way to both preserve tradition and leave their mark on the community. Lifelong Entiat resident and class of 1957 graduate Peggy Whitmore sat down with NCW Life to discuss the tradition of the historic small-town landmark.
First of all, in my time, girls definitely didn't go up and do it. And the tradition was for you to camp out overnight up there once you got your number painted so the juniors wouldn't come up and smear it out. So it was, but that's kind of gone by the wayside now too for safety purposes and that sort of thing.
Whitmore added that although some outsiders have been vocal about the defacing of the mountain, the Entiat community remains loyal to its tradition.
There have been a couple of things, and one of the things about our community is we're very loyal to tradition and history of our community, and when somebody wants to take it away, it gets very vocal sometimes.
Entiat Community Historical Society president and class of 1956 graduate Wayne Long says that the numbers on the mountain go as far back as 1920, although this wasn't the first year a class left their imprint on the landmark.
The first number that was put up there was from the graduating class of 1923, and I'm having a difficult time finding it. But in the past, and I don't know how many years ago it was, they elected to put the year 20, 21, and 22.
The mountain still contains plenty of space for future classes to leave their mark on, and Entiat residents hope another 100 years of tradition will be preserved on Numeral Mountain. With NCW Life, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Thank you, Kyle. And finally, hey, it's Friday. What's going on this weekend all over the Wenatchee Valley? Any number of events. Let's take a look-see.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. The Wenatchee Downtown Association is hosting their annual summer sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday. Find the hottest deals downtown out on the street. Come to Friday Night Flights this Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Eagle Creek Winery in Leavenworth. The $15 ticket price includes a live music performance with a tasting of any 6 of their delicious wines. Find Your Way Known Treasure Hunt is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Join in for a treasure hunt and free family fun in downtown Cashmere. Pick up a map for a self-guided hunt at the Cashmere Chamber of Commerce's downtown info booth or at participating businesses. Locate all 11 treasure chests and use the stamp on site to mark your map. Once complete, return to the info booth to claim your treasure. All completed maps will be entered in the grand prize giveaway. And finally, Chelan Rustler Saddle Club is hosting its annual junior rodeo at the Chelan Rodeo Grounds this Saturday and Sunday. Children, teens, and in between will compete in 52 events from mutton busting to pole bending to calf roping, barreling, and much more. Admission is free to all spectators. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Thank you very much, Megan. And don't forget, wherever you go this weekend, you can take us along. We are portable. We are streaming all the time. So on your smartphone, your tablet, whatever it is, if you want to watch and consume your local TV station via the World Wide Web, which, by the way, is catching on. I'm on record, this whole internet thing. Keep an eye on it. Go to our website at ncwlife.com, ncwlife.com. 18 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break. When we come back, sports, the obscure holiday today, and history, birthdays. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion and Eric's conversation with our friends organizing the Walk to End Alzheimer's. We got a busy Friday. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
After 21 years at the Lake Chelan Mailboxes store, Jerry and Sherry are ready to retire. Jerry and Sherry would like to thank everyone and give some lucky person a business opportunity. That's right, you could own a great small business in Lake Chelan with a proven track record. This includes FedEx, UPS, and USPS services, making it a unique offer. For information on buying Chelan mailboxes, call Jerry or Sherry, and while you're there, wish them well.
Succession is leading the way for a new generation of Chelan wineries. Named Platinum Winemaker of the Year in 2017 and the one to watch in 2018 by Wine Press, Succession is setting the pace. Award-winning wines are just a part of the overall experience. Add live music on Sundays and fantastic views, and you have it all. Succession Wines, located on the north shore of Lake Chelan between Chelan and Manson.
20 minutes after the hour on this Friday, I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports as the season winds down. One thing has become very, very clear that, well, for the Wenatchee Apple Sox, every game from here on out is huge. Wenatchee begins a 3-game series tonight at Paul Thomas Senior Field. The Yakima Valley Pippins are here in the big city. So here's what's going on. Victoria continues to win. So the task for the Apple Sox is to secure the next best record in the North Division of the West Coast League in order to make the playoffs for the first time since 2013. Now, to do that, they'll have to take the final 3 series of the season, beginning, of course, this weekend with Yakima Valley in town. The last time Wenatchee and Yakima Valley met, that was back in June, and the Pippins swept that 3-game series. It was only the second series of the year for the Apple Sox. They had pretty bad defense at that time. They have improved greatly. Jake Somm will take the ball for Coach Kyle Crustangel tonight. He's 3-1 with a 3.37 ERA. We don't know who's pitching for the Pippins. First pitch, 6:35. To the Les Schwab scoreboard. West Coast League play last night. Not a lot, as you can see. Victoria erased a 3-1 deficit. Beat Cowlitz 7-3. Ridgefield, the Raptors, feasted on Bellingham pitching 9-3 there. And the Kelowna Falcons defeated Port Angeles 7-6. So the updated standings for the West Coast League looks like that. Wenatchee now trails Victoria by a full game after the Harbor Cats win last night. Port Angeles still within striking distance at 10-8. 3 games back. The chances for everybody else in the second half of the division race, as you can see, not real good. The target, again, for Wenatchee is probably going to be the best overall record behind Victoria in the division. The Apple Sox still lead Bellingham by 1.5 games in that regard. Port Angeles is 3.5 games back. Wenatchee's opponent this weekend, Yakima Valley, still technically alive at 19-26, but they got a lot of work to do. Don't forget, we'll have Game 2 of the 3-game series between Wenatchee and Yakima Valley tomorrow right here, NCW Live Channel pregame, 6:15, first pitch, 6:35. If you can't make it to the ballpark, you can watch it right here. The Mariners start a 3-game series in Houston tonight. Astros have the second best record in baseball. They're 70-40. They're running away with the American League West. They lead Oakland by 8 games. Seattle, meanwhile, has the 6th worst record in the American League, 47-64. That's a rebuilding year. It always seems to be now for the Mariners, isn't it? UC Kikuchi will get the start for the Mariners. Wade Miley goes for Houston. First pitch, 5:10 at Minute Maid Park. Astros come in after taking 2 of 3 against Cleveland. Yeah, the Astros 7-1 win, as you see there. Oakland, they defeated Milwaukee last night. The final was 5-3. And there are your standings in the American League West. News out of day 6, the Seahawks training camp, not necessarily good. First of all, there was a fight yesterday. Offensive guard Ethan Pokic and defensive tackle Jaron Reed went at it. They got kicked out of practice. Coach Pete Carroll says it was a good example of how fights can hurt a team.
A couple guys got thrown out of practice today, and it's really important for us to recognize how devastating that can be. In a game when you only got so many guys and you lose one position, it could change the whole complexion of the game for you, and we cannot resort to that at any time. So I was pleased to throw them out and find them and the whole thing. For me, it's one of those opportunities, a teachable moment there to say, okay, this is how we did this, and say if I was telling them that this was the first half, we're behind. We're not ahead in this game. We had a couple turnovers and we had some penalties that stopped some big plays. So now it's halftime. What are we going to do about it? And we use this opportunity to practice what it takes to get back on course. And so tomorrow will be the day that we'll do that, and we'll see if we can really sharpen it up tomorrow.
The Blue Angels, by the way, were practicing during Seahawks practice. Of course, they're performing at Seafair this weekend. Carroll said it was a good chance to practice with noise. Jet airplanes are loud. Carroll's also had the unfortunate news on defensive end L.J. Collier. He's got an injury, L.J. does. It's going to keep him out for a while.
Badly sprained ankle. It's going to be a little bit. So that's unfortunate. It's really an awkward position that he got tangled up in, and so we'll have to take some time here to figure it out. It's going to be some weeks, though. It's not a garden variety sprain at all. It's a little bit unusual one, kind of part of upper part of his foot. It's an unusual one for us, so we really haven't had a guy that sprained his ankle just like this. So that's why we're going to be really slow to make sure we know what we're doing with this. It's a rare sprain.
Of course, Seattle hosts the Denver Broncos next Thursday at CenturyLink Field, the first pregame series of the year. By the way, the Hall of Fame game was last night in Canton, Ohio. For those of you who care, Denver defeated Atlanta 14-10. There you go, your weekend sports schedule. The United States Figure Skating Club, their 2019 National Showcase takes place at the Town Toyota Center. Began yesterday, runs through Sunday. The Eastern Washington NIT Softball Tournament tomorrow and Sunday at Walla Walla Point Park. The Chelan Junior Rodeo is also Saturday and Sunday at the Chelan Rodeo grounds, and the World Series roping event is this weekend at Appalachia. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday at 25 after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day. Today it's National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. It's one of the all-time frozen treats. When we think of the ice cream sandwich, we think of just vanilla with the chocolate on top. Of course, you can do strawberry or chocolate on chocolate. Doesn't really matter. The original ice cream sandwich sold for a penny back in 1900 from a pushcart down at the Bowery, in the Bowery neighborhood of Lower Manhattan in New York City. Newspapers never identified the name of the vendor, but it got real popular real quick. And before you know it, by the end of summer 1900, there were push carts all over Manhattan selling ice cream sandwiches. And a lot of people like to make their own ice cream sandwich because it's pretty easy. You take two big old cookies and you put whatever ice cream you want in the middle of it. One account claims that the modern ice cream sandwich, the one that you see there, the chocolate wafer with the vanilla in the middle, was invented by Jerry Newberg in 1945, and they sold it at Pittsburgh Pirates home games at Forbes Field. So I'm told. I don't care where it came from. Who doesn't love an ice cream sandwich on this National Ice Cream Sandwich Day? Let's do today in history. This may seem odd to you, but there's the Declaration of Independence, the bottom part of it that everybody signed. August 2nd, 1776, so 243 years ago, they actually signed the Declaration of Independence, the formal signing ceremony. Yeah, people think, well, wasn't it July 4th? Well, the Continental Congress, of course, approved. They green-lighted the Declaration of Independence, but they didn't actually get around to signing the darn thing until August 2nd. And in fact, subsequent research has revealed that a lot of the signers who didn't even sign on August 2nd, they would add their signatures later on over actually like about a year. It took about a year for everybody who wanted to sign the Declaration of Independence to sign the Declaration of Independence. Keep in mind, they were basically signing their own death warrant. You know, if we didn't win the Revolutionary War, if your name's on that document, we're coming after you. So they signed the Declaration of Independence on this date 243 years ago, just about a month too late. August 2nd, 1790, 229 years ago, the very first United States Census took place. It took place in one day. How did they do it? It was simple. The United States Marshals were ordered by the United States Congress to fan out all over the country and visit every household. Every household was told weeks and weeks in advance on August 2nd, everybody stays home, and the marshals will come knocking on your door. How many you got here? You got 6? Thank you, Smith family. And they added them all up. They all did it in one day. August 2nd, 1790. In case you're curious, the first census, the population of the United States on August 2nd, 1790 was 3,929,214. The most populous state in the Union was Virginia at the time. Virginia had 747,610 people. Now Virginia has 8,470,030 people. And the largest city then and now, New York. New York in 1790 had 33,131 citizens. And today, New York City has 8,622,698 citizens. The first census took place on this date 229 years ago. This is the 95th anniversary of the death of President Warren G. Harding. We have a silent film to show you from British Pathé News. It was 95 years ago. He was on a West Coast tour. He died suddenly. He just keeled right over. In fact, his very last speech he ever gave and his last public appearance was in Seattle. His last speech was at Husky Stadium on July 27th. And then he was in Seattle. Then he reviewed the Pacific Fleet, as you see here. And then they got in a train. And as they were going on the train from Seattle to San Francisco, he didn't feel very good. He took to his bed. Looked like Warren Harding was recovering just fine. And then, boom, keeled over. And that was it. Vice President Calvin Coolidge took over the presidency upon the death of President Warren G. Harding on this date 95 years ago today. This is the 40th anniversary of an event I will never forget. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when I heard the news. I cannot believe it's been 40 years ago today. Thurman Munson died from the NBC Nightly News, August 2nd, 1979.
New York Yankees catcher Thurman Munson was killed today in the crash of a small airplane at the Akron-Canton Airport in Ohio. Reports were 2 other people were in the small plane with him. The plane belonged to Munson. He had bought it recently and was learning to fly. The air controller said it had been making practice takeoffs and landings when it crashed about 1,000 feet from the runway. Thurman Munson, dead at the age of 32.
As you might imagine, I'm a big Yankee fan, and that one socked me right in the gut. And today is the 40th anniversary of the death of Thurman Munson. They will be having commemorations at Yankee Stadium tonight before their game against the Red Sox. August 2nd, 1990, 28 years ago today, Iraq invaded Kuwait. Of course, eventually, by January the next year, we had the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. We've seemed to have about 19 of them since then. August 2nd, 1990, 28 years ago today. Of course, Iraq owed the United States $14 billion, and they also wanted all of Kuwait's oil because Kuwait was cranking out oil left and right, which was keeping prices down. They didn't like that either, so they took over the entire country. It took about 2 hours. That's all it took. Kuwait didn't know what was going on. Iraq invaded Kuwait on this date 28 years ago today, and eventually we had ourselves a war. Let's do birthdays at 31 minutes after the hour. We have 2 Frenchmen who did this country very, very proud indeed. Pierre-Charles L'Enfant. What did he do? What's his claim to fame? Well, he designed our nation's capital. Yeah, he won the gig. He was born in the state in 1754, died in 1825 at the age of 70. He basically designed the entire campus that we consider Washington, D.C. He decided, okay, we'll put the White House there and the Capitol there, and that'll go there, and Treasury Department there, and he laid the whole thing out. Pierre-Charles L'Enfant. Nicely done, Pierre. Hope he got paid. He was born in the state in 1754. The man who designed the Statue of Liberty, also a Frenchman, born in the state. Frederic Auguste Bartholdi was born in the state in 1834. Got to see the statue delivered, reconstructed, and done. He designed it. He did a good job. Thank you, Frederic Auguste Bartholdi, born in the state in 1834. And a couple of legendary actors no longer with us. Carroll O'Connor was born in this state in 1924. Not only acted, he directed, he produced, he was a screenwriter. Of course, the iconic character of Archie Bunker, one of the top half-dozen television characters of all time, was portrayed by Carroll O'Connor. He won 4 Emmy Awards for playing Archie Bunker. And then he won a 5th Emmy Award for his role in the Heat of the Night. Carroll O'Connor, born in the state of 1924. And Peter O'Toole, the British actor and producer, was born in the state in 1932, passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 81. He was nominated for 8 Academy Awards without ever winning one. Lawrence of Arabia, Beckett, The Lion in Winter, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, The Ruling Class, The Stuntman, My Favorite Year, and Venus, 8 times a nominee for Best Actor. Never won one, but he did win an honorary Academy Award. I guess you take that when you can get it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, everybody is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And then last week, Eric Granstrom, my friend and yours, sat down with Steve Reinhold and Erica Grismerson to talk about the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It was an important conversation. We're going to air it for you again between now and 8 o'clock. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, this is Brian Snyder with Black Rock Asphalt Services here in Wenatchee, your local Black Rock seal coat company. Have you looked at your driveway or parking lot lately? Is it gray and oxidized? Does it have cracks that have not been taken care of? Or do you have striping that is pretty much non-existent? Please give us a call locally here, 509-665-9769. Learn more at blackrockasphaltsealcoating.com.
Hi, I'm Lehman Williams, General Manager of Crown Furniture and Mattress. 3 years ago, we decided to make a change to focus on products built in the USA. We made this decision based on better construction, better quality, and better warranties. At Crown Furniture and Mattress, we take great pride in knowing with each and every delivery, we're not just delivering furniture, we're delivering quality and comfort for your family to enjoy for years to come. So stop by and feel the difference at 736 South Wenatchee Avenue, across from Stan's.
At some point, we realized that value and practicality go hand in hand. A time when an unnoticed accumulation of items has become burdensome. These possessions still have value, but now lack usefulness. Donate your unwanted items to Goodwill and become a job creator. Your donations allow Goodwill to provide much-needed training to job seekers in our community. And that's pretty useful for everyone. Make plans to attend the August 30th grand opening of the all-new Goodwill on Columbia Center Boulevard in Kennewick.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's an old saying, clothes make the man. Really? This seems kind of naive and prejudicial to me. Just because some guy is nicely dressed, does that mean he's a better man, a man of greater integrity and character than someone who's less well-dressed? Now, granted, a person's outward appearance can sometimes be an expression of their inner personality. Actually, quite often, clothing-wise, that's the effect many people are after. But let's face it, just because somebody's dressed nice, it doesn't mean they are nice. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Dear Mary Maids, just got home from a trade show and I didn't have time to pick up the house. Kids made chili. Jeff did a mud run. Oh, and Winston shredded Teddy's bed. Again, please clean it the best you can. Oh, except for the statue Max made for me. Thanks, Abby.
Hi, Abby. Clean kitchen, clean bath, clean floor, naughty cat. Poor Teddy. The statue is precious. You should keep it forever. See you next time, Mary Maids.
And thanks for joining us here on a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz here on the second day of the work week. And coming up very soon, in fact, it'll be upon us before we know it, is a special event here in Wenatchee. regarding Alzheimer's, and in to talk to us about Alzheimer's in general and specifically this Walk to End Alzheimer's coming up in September. We have Erica Grismerson with the Alzheimer's Association. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay. Right. And Steve Reinhold, who is with Oneonta, which is one of the big sponsors of the event coming up in September.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So first, tell us about your position with the Alzheimer's Association and specifically regarding this walk coming up.
Yeah, so I'm the walk manager, and I am the one that plans all the Walk to End Alzheimer's for North Central Washington. So the walk for Wenatchee will be in Wenatchee, but it's for, Douglas County, Chelan County, Okanagan County. We have people that come from OMAC, kind of all over for this walk here in Wenatchee. And it'll be at Pybus Public Market on September 21st.
Okay.
And we would love for people to come.
Now, why are you involved with Alzheimer's Association?
So Alzheimer's is a progressive and fatal brain disease. Currently, there is no cure for Alzheimer's. There's no way to prevent Alzheimer's, and there's no way to slow it down. It is one of the only diseases in that nature that there is no solution right now. So for me, that means we need to have hope. We need to move forward. We need to raise funds. We need to do something to try and find a cure for this. And while we're finding a cure for this, we need to support those people that are suffering for it, or suffering with it.
Yeah. It's, I heard stats, stats, I don't know if they're true or not, but Alzheimer's is the third leading cause of death in the state of Washington now?
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, we have about 110,000 people currently suffering with Alzheimer's in the state of Washington.
Okay. For those who don't know, I talked about it a little bit earlier this morning here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. My mother has dementia, and dementia is kind of the umbrella for Alzheimer's, right?
Yes.
Alzheimer's is kind of a form of dementia?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and dementia is considered a syndrome where Alzheimer's is considered a disease. So the differentiation there. It's awful, no matter what. Speaking of which, Steve, tell us about how you're involved on the Oneonta side and why you personally are involved.
Well, Oneonta Star Ranch Growers is a supporter and a sponsor of the walk, and has been for several years. Our family's been involved in the walk now for 5 years or so, something like that. We've been happy to be a big part of that, and really enjoy working with the group at the association. And my father's involved with the board of directors there, and so we're pretty deeply involved. We lost my mother to the disease in December of 2017, and my mother-in-law is currently suffering at this time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So it's definitely affected your family all the way through.
No question. Yeah.
And we got Bob in the background here. Bob's not on camera, but he's back here making sure that we get it all straight. Now, before we get to the actual walk coming up, and there's teams involved and fundraising and things like that, and that's why we have them in now here in August or July to talk about it, and the event's not for a couple of months away. But fundraising element to it starts, well, actually it's already underway. But before we get to that and the specifics about the event coming up in September, Alzheimer's Association provided us with a video that we've kind of snipped up a little bit here, but it'll give you a good indication of why this walk is important. So let's take a look.
10 days after our 25th anniversary, she got diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer's. In 2009, I joined a support group at the Alzheimer's Association, which I still go to, a year and a half after Terry's gone. The following year, 2010, my son Lennon signed up for the Alzheimer's Walk and said, "Hey, Dad, you want to do this with us?" And I go, yeah, of course. And I had a goal of like $500, and within the first 20 minutes on Facebook, I was like at $3,000. It was an opportunity for me to tell people too that didn't know, and I think that's the most important thing I did, was share her story. That year we ended up raising like $22,000. I'm going, this is crazy. As a team, we raised that. It became what I did in the fall. I mean, I would raise money for Alzheimer's Association, and I would honor my wife at the same time. And she walked with us 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 6 years. I get to share Terry with everybody again. I get to let everybody know what a wonderful woman she was. I get to talk about her, and and get, it's selfish too, because I get this outpouring of love, which I just absorb. Well, the white flower, they say it's for the first survivor of Alzheimer's. What it means to me is, despite the relationship Hope and I have with each other, I guess I can have hope for the future.
What if I take the purple and you take the yellow?
Perfect.
In Washington State alone, there are about 335,000 families and friends who are caregivers, unpaid.
3, 2, 1.
It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley here for this Tuesday, and Alzheimer's is our discussion, and it should be probably a discussion for especially Washingtonians. For whatever reason, it seems our state is afflicted with this disease more so than any other state, or at least the death rates is higher, and it is crazy what's happening here with this particular disease. And if you don't know more about it, you can find out more about it coming up September 21st. Tell us about the Walk to End Alzheimer's and why even those who are not impacted by this should be involved in this.
Yeah, so the Walk to End Alzheimer's is our main fundraiser for the association. So the walk funds our cure research. It funds our 24/7 helpline. So anybody suffering with Alzheimer's or their family members or caregivers can have access to master level clinicians to talk to anytime. It funds our education programs, our support programs, awareness, everything related with Alzheimer's and trying to help people that are suffering from it. So the walk is our primary fundraiser for that. And it really captures, the spirit of the community coming together to support a disease that there is no cure for, there is no solution for right now. So many people are affected by it currently, and if you're not, the chances that you will be are pretty high. Yeah, okay. So not only, Steve here, his mom had it, but then now his mother-in-law, right? Yeah. She has it too. So whether it's in your own family or you marry into it or your friends or your family, there's always going to be somebody that has Alzheimer's or has been affected by it. And you'd be surprised when you talk about it, how many people are truly affected by it.
Well, I think that also, and I don't know what the statistics say, but for example, my dad is the main caregiver for my mother. And I'm sure that's probably more the case than not, where it's a family member that has to step in and help with the situation. Steve, if you're willing to, can you tell us about your mom and how you guys first figured that something wasn't quite right there?
Well, it kind of started in the normal way, in that she was kind of a little bit forgetful and misplacing things and that sort of thing. And Dad, of course, was the first one to notice it at the time they were living in Arizona. And we were only, around it occasionally. And so they went to a doctor, had some tests done, and a few things. She was diagnosed in 2011, I think. And shortly after that, they moved up here. Her progression was slow. We were fortunate with that. But it does progress, and it becomes the obvious signs that you see and you hear about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When did she pass?
December of 17.
What, and I don't mean to do this to you, but because it's important for people to know, and what you said too, that this is incurable right now anyway, and hopefully with the research we're doing and getting done, that we'll get some sort of at least help. What was the end like for Mom?
Well, that's difficult. She did eventually have to be placed in a managed care facility. That was fortunately a relatively short period of time, about 6 months. So,
wow. I know that there's various stages, and for our family anyway, with my mother, it's a case of oh, that makes sense. Once the diagnosis actually happened, then it's like, oh, yeah, okay. Now that explains why this and why that and what was going on. And then you start backtracking, for us anyway, and it was like, holy cow, she's been dealing with this a lot longer than when she was actually diagnosed. And, she's in late stage dementia now, and we're teetering on that edge of, we need more help here. And thankfully there's help available, especially with the resources, because you can feel like you're on a deserted island all by yourself and there's nothing out there. But I mean, just the phone line itself, and to be able to access these professionals to help you with resources and tools and ways to understand what's happening is huge.
It is, and we, besides the 24/7 helpline, we offer like support groups where the family members can go and have a moment to grieve and talk to each other and work out some struggles that they're having and know that they're not alone. We offer the 10 signs, the 10 warning signs, so that people can learn more about it and be able to have that conversation with their spouse. We help them what to say and how to say it. We encourage talking to your doctor as early as possible. All of those items we offer free of charge. We want to help the community. We want to help the people out there suffering for that. And the Walk to End Alzheimer's is what funds all of that.
Okay. So if we could talk a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association before we get into the specific walk. So it's here in Wenatchee?
So we don't have an office here. So the Alzheimer's Association is national. My office personally is in the Tri-Cities. We have offices in Spokane, Tri-Cities, Linwood, and Tukwila. But we do have our care navigators, they come down. We have support programs here in Wenatchee. We work a lot with Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington. They're huge supporters of ours. We host programs in their facilities. They help spread the word. They help promote and offer space for these support groups. So we are present here, just I don't have my office here.
Okay.
But we're always here. We have our committee meetings here. We meet regularly. We have lots of volunteers that provide the programs that are here locally. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long has the walk in Wenatchee been going on? Do you know?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I know it's been a few years
It's been
now.
a few years.
And you said Aniana's been involved pretty much since we started that.
Our family's been involved for about 5 years. I don't know exactly when it's
Okay, yeah, and that makes about sense because I think Pybus has been the location for it, and Pybus has been around about that amount of time. So let's talk about what's coming up on September 21st and what people could do right now to get involved for this event.
Yeah, so right now the biggest thing you could do is register a team. So the idea is that you create a team, Walking for Mom or Team Dad or something like that, and it's kind of like the rallying umbrella. So you create a team, you go to our website, it's act.alz.org/Wenatchee. And again, this isn't just a Wenatchee walk, it's for all the counties and surrounding areas. You create a team and then you start inviting your friends, your family, your coworkers, your peers, join your team, support you in this cause, walk with us. It doesn't cost anything to walk. You don't have to fundraise. We definitely encourage it because that's how we pay for all of our programs. But then you start fundraising. We made it as easy as possible. Once you get registered, you'll have access to all the tools you could possibly need. There's a button you can just shoot the Facebook fundraiser over to Facebook. It links right up. You can get donations that way. You can host events. You can do yard sales or bake sales. Pretty much anything you can think of, really, and just try and get support from your friends and your family and really encourage them to come with you and walk with you and support, this cause.
It can kind of seem rather daunting right now, considering that, as you mentioned, there's no cure for this. But where are we on research and education as far as I think it all, as we're seeing with the various forms of cancer, once they figure out how it starts, then they can back up and go, okay, now we can try to attack this.
Yeah, so actually it's good timing. We just finished up our AAIC conference, which is the largest conference of the scientific world coming together on Alzheimer's research. So a lot of things have come out with that. There'll be more coming out with the press releases and all of that. I don't know it all off the top of my head because it's literally going on.
And I was in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So lots of progress, lots of hope. We're looking at blood tests, that kind of stuff to be able to identify. There's a lot of information coming out about healthy living and slowing the onset of it. So, it's kind of a tricky field,
It is.
but
It is.
healthy living is showing promise. So being eating healthy, being active, being mentally active, those types of things.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we learned from Mom's situation in our family is that, and something that we didn't recognize and we didn't see, is that Mom was depressed for a long time, and the doctors have said, yeah, that can be the lone thing that can kick this in, and it's so frustrating because it's, and speaking of frustrating, and that's the thing that's great about the team aspect of this walk, is that this can be, as I mentioned, such an isolating thing, and for friends of family and for relatives, because you feel so helpless. What can I do? What can I do? Well, here's something you can do. Be a part of the team and get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bob and Steve's team, they get lots of participants. Their whole family rallies together. They're one of our largest fundraising teams. So anybody can do it. I mean, you can get your friends, your family, people not even in the state. You can get them to donate and join you. They can register for the walk in their own state. I mean, we have over 600 different walks across the nation. So there's always a way you can get involved.
Tell me about what that feels like to be part of that day, to be part of that walk.
Well, for us, we try to make it kind of a rallying point for friends that we don't see all the time and family that are outside the area and what have you. So we have friends and family that come in from as far away as Minnesota, and we just make a weekend out of it.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's good. We look
good.
forward to it.
I wanted to ask real quick about the flowers. You saw in that video they have the flowers. I had one on my desk. There's different colors and they represent different things. Now, purple is kind of the color for Alzheimer's Association, right?
Yeah. Okay. Purple's our color. And then the flowers, they do represent different things. And on walk day, that is probably one of the most powerful moments, is when everybody's holding up their flower for how they've been impacted. So the blue flower represents somebody with Alzheimer's. The purple flower is, I've lost somebody to Alzheimer's. There's a lot of purple flowers in the audience. The yellow flower is, I'm caregiving for somebody with Alzheimer's. I mean, currently there's 348,000 unpaid caregivers in the state of Washington. Yeah. So that's a huge amount of people not getting paid that are caring for their family members, like your dad. And then the orange flower is, I don't have a connection, but I support the cause. I support a world without Alzheimer's. And so on walk day, we hold up our flowers, and it's just this sea of color, and it's really powerful to see how many people have been impacted and have come together.
How does that work to get a flower? Is that you pay like $5 or something?
Nope. Everybody gets a flower.
Okay.
So when you register, you go in and you pick your flower, and we hold it up and we show our support.
Okay, we're going to get you the website again, which is the way to sign up for being a team coming up the Wenatchee Walk to End Alzheimer's. And as Erica mentioned, it's for Chelan, Douglas, Okanagan counties. So we've got folks that will be coming in on September 21st from all over the place to Pybus Public Market. What time does it start that day?
So registration starts at 8 a.m. Okay. And we, then we start the opening ceremony, and then we start walk, I think, about 10 a.m. So there's time to, see our vendors and, talk to each other and share your stories. And the ceremony is very powerful as well. So I encourage people to make sure they're there early to see that and be part of that. And then we walk, and it's really cool to see everybody walking together.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to. I've been asked to speak about our family situation with that, and I'm a big softie, so I get all choked up all the time thinking about it. But it's interesting that you guys come in right now to talk about this, and this is the topic at hand, because my dad, it's Mom is where she is. I mean, that's the way it is. Our dad is the one that we're worried about, probably more than Mom, really. And we just learned about care support that's available through the state of Washington in a pilot program, basically, that we had no idea existed. And I've been beating the phones for a year to try to get some help out there. So I'll tell more about that story on September 21st. So, we literally he just had a home inspection and everything else. See, and that's the thing too, with my family, they live on the family homestead, that's been in our family since the 1800s. It's a rural location in Western Washington, and you start adding all of those things, and there's roadblocks in getting help, physically, let alone the mental roadblocks that go on there. So if you would like to be part of the Walk to End Alzheimer's coming up on September 21st, get your team together now, start doing some fundraising, and be part of that event, special event at Pybus Public Market on that Saturday, the 21st of September. Give us the website again for folks so they can go sign up.
So it's act.alz.org/Wenatchee.
And that will be specifically for this. Steve, thank you for coming in and sharing part of your family's story, and my sympathies and condolences to you. I know firsthand what that's like. And we'll have a gathering point at Pybus Public Market for those that have also been touched by this disease that is just a horrible, horrible thing. Erica, thank you for coming up from the Tri-Cities, and we'll see you on that Saturday as well.
Indeed.
Okay,
yes,
there we go. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll come back and wrap up this Tuesday edition next here on the NCW Life Channel.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
At Doghouse Motorsports, we ride what we sell. There's a lot we could say about the CD Spark and the CD GTI, but ultimately, the ride says it all.
We're about ready to glide ourselves right into a weekend. And what do we have in store from Mother Nature's perspective? It looks something like this. The big story today is going to be the wind. Quite windy at times. The wind will be peaking between 3 and 7 today. Gusts right around 20 to 25 miles an hour. Westerly winds. There's a cold front that's coming in. Once we get past that, we go right back to the sunny and warm conditions, 90 to 96 to triple digits Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All in all, it looks like a very nice weekend indeed. Everybody have a great weekend, provided the show isn't canceled. I'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.